Hello guys, welcome to Junior Fixal. In this video tutorial, we're going to perform the delete functionality in our CRUD operation. So over here, this is our project, and over here we're going to double click on the delete button, and it's going to trigger the on-click event of this button. So this is it. In the previous tutorial, we did that for the addition or the create functionality. So we're going to need it. We're going to need this very functionality, but we're not going to do much changes in the delete functionality. So let's go ahead and copy it and paste it here. Alright. So in the delete functionality, or in the delete button, we are going to check for the ID. If the ID that we are going to delete, or the person we're going to delete, his ID is already in the database, so we're going to check for this one only. So if the ID is not empty, then we say enter student ID, enter student. If the ID is not empty, then we go ahead and perform the operation. If it's empty, then we say enter student ID. Alright. Okay. So we go ahead and check if the person exists in the database. If the person exists, then we bring this here. If the person exists, then we go ahead and delete the person. If the person doesn't exist, then we say student doesn't exist. Alright. Which means the student is not in the database. If the student is in the database, then we're going to do this. We're going to delete it. We're going to say delete from student, where S ID, the column student ID, is equal to, here we are again, don't get confused with this thing, student ID test.text. Then student deleted successfully. We are going to count if the ID is more than 1, and in fact it can never be greater than 1, because we checked it here that it cannot enter 2 students, or the 2 students cannot have the same ID. So if the count is greater than 0, then we go ahead and delete it. It means the student exists in the database. If that's not the case, then and it's 0 or less than 1, then the student doesn't exist. Then we go ahead and close the connection. So over here, let's go to our database and check what we have so far in the database. Over here, browse. Yes, this is the first entry that we entered in our previous tutorial. So let's go ahead and add another student. Let's see. In fact, this value cannot be more than 8. You can go ahead and do the front-end validation, but even if it's more than 8 and you enter, it's not going to work, because the backend validation or SQL is not going to permit that, because we said the maximum value is supposed to be 8. So let's say Junior Fixal. anan@gmail.com. Let's see, IT. Then we add student added successfully. So let's try. If you're going to delete student from the database, you're not going to need this. In fact, if they are there, it doesn't count for anything. We're only going to need the ID. So let's copy this and try something that's not in the database. Student doesn't exist. If we try this, student deleted successfully. Oh, in fact, I didn't show you the the ID when we entered. That student supposed to be here, but we've deleted that student, so it's no more here. So that's it. That's all for the delete functionality. In the next tutorial, we are going to do the read functionality in the CRUD operation. Thank you for watching. See you in the next tutorial.